Welcome to EMERJ TV with Reggie Smith. This podcast is about all things production for the people in front of the camera or behind the camera. Let's join Reggie right now for the discussion.
Hey everybody, welcome back. This is part 2 of my conversation with Gerald McBride. Gerald, I want to talk to you about your motion picture career now. First of all, you shot a full length.
I did.
Motion picture.
I did.
How did that, give me the process when you first thought about doing it? So,
what's really interesting, as I mentioned in the other episode, that I've done quite a few commercials for a lot of different clients. And one of my clients actually came into town and asked if I could take him to a hockey game. And his son was playing for UMass, and they were playing University of Michigan in a hockey game.
Yeah.
And so we get there. Of course, I said, yeah, I'll take you. So we get there, and it's sold out, 10,000 seats. And I look around, Reggie, and I am the only black guy in the entire arena. I'm like, it was my first time ever going to a hockey game. But I was just so curious and like, where are all the black people in this sport? And I believe right then and there that God gives me an idea for a movie. And I get this idea. I had never shot a movie before. Of course, I've shot a lot of TV and radio commercials, but never, excuse me, never a full-length film. And but I get this idea for a film, and I've never written in a movie script at all. And so I started writing it down on notepads. I knew exactly what was going to happen and who the characters were, what was going to happen in the beginning, the middle, the end. And I just, when you get an idea like that, you just feel like you just got to get it out on paper and get it done. And that's what I did, man. I just spent time writing the idea down on these notepads, and then I thought, well, maybe I need to take this a little more serious.
Yeah.
And so I took some classes in script writing, and from the notepads, I went to Final Draft, which is the software that they use for making movies. And I just started working on this, and I kept working and writing every day, man. I would just spend time after, I finished doing all my commercials and running my business. In the evening, I would just start working on this script. And the story was a story of a young black hockey player who dealt with racism. And he gets into a really bad brawl on the ice with an opponent white player. He's the only black player on the team. And he almost murders a guy. And because of that, he's sent to prison. And he does several years in prison for attempted murder. And when he gets out, they assign him to a hockey rink in the inner city where he teaches young black kids how to play the hockey. And that was the premise of the story. But I kept, writing this, and I had some friends in Hollywood who were actually in the movie industry, and I would send them the idea and the script, and they would say, hey man, I think you're onto something. But you need to work on this, and you need to work on that, and then I go back and take their constructive criticism, and then I would send it back to them. The second time I sent it back to a friend of mine, he says, well, this time I'm going to send it to my agent. Let's see if this has some legs, and if, the agency is interested in this. And we sent it to them, and then the guy from the agency sends it back to me, and it's marked up like a bad report card, man. It had all kind of X's and O's and red marks, and this doesn't make sense. And I was so discouraged. I was like, okay, maybe I shouldn't be doing this. I'm wasting my time. I remember balling it up and throwing it in the garbage can, and then I'd pick it back up again, Reggie. Because I just knew something was in me, and I knew it was a story that the Lord had given me, and that He wanted me to tell about racism, about forgiveness, about perseverance, about faith, and it had all these different elements in it. So I just kept writing and writing, and this was going for 10 years.
Wow, 10 years.
Finally I got it to a point where my friends in Hollywood thought that I had finally got it to where it needed to be. And we were talking to some people who wanted to put millions in making this movie about this, these black hockey players. And at the time, it was called Black Ice. And I thought, wow, okay, well, great, we're on to something. And you know how you have to play that kind of waiting game in Hollywood and waiting for the right people to, to give it the green light.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, COVID hits. I had been working on this for 12 years now, and COVID hits. So I lost all my contacts with getting this film made.
Mm-hmm.
So I continued to work on the script through COVID and continued to believe that this movie was going to be made. It was my confession, that this movie was going to be made. Right after COVID started to die down, I'll never forget being in church and hearing the pastor say something that inspired me to move, like, it's time for you to get this done. So, in faith, I started January 22 with pre-production, not having a dime. I did not have the $2.5 or $3 million that was promised to me to make the movie.
Right.
But I just stepped down on faith and started putting things together. I started talking to a crew of guys saying, hey, in May, we're going to be shooting this movie. You want to be a part of it?
Mm-hmm.
Reggie and I don't have a dime. And I just continued to do that. I started putting my cast together, started doing all the pre-production, hired a producer to help me with, putting the whole pre-production schedule together with locations and what it was going to cost, and I still don't have the money. Now, we had kind of figured out a way to do this movie a lot less than what we were going to get from a big studio.
Yeah.
So just as a local film, we had narrowed it down to just a few $100,000. So I'll say that. And but I still didn't have the money. But I'm still
didn't have the $100,000.
Yeah. So we started looking into getting investors, and my wife and I had reached out to a few people, but we just didn't have a piece about borrowing money from people on such a risky thing. Mm-hmm. And I know people do it every day, but I just didn't have the piece about doing that.
Yeah.
But yet I'm getting closer and closer to
production day, first day.
Production day, and all my guys like, were you ready? Yeah, they never asked me whether or not I had the money. The actors are all ready. I got everything in place, ready to go.
Yeah.
And Reggie, a week before it was time for me to shoot the movie, I get an email saying I had qualified for a business loan. And that was for $180,000. And that's what I ended up making the movie for. Yeah. So we started production May 23rd, shooting the movie. And I just saw God moving in so many different areas.
Yeah.
A guy at church pretty much gave me the cameras to do the movie with, and said, hey man, don't worry about paying me until you're done. Right. Until the movie makes some money. And these were red cameras.
Oh yeah, see, yeah.
These were the very best cameras, man. I mean, for somebody to walk up in your church, hey, here, I hear you doing a movie, and hey, I got a complete camera package for you. When I showed up to the set with all this equipment, the crew that I hired, they were like, where did you get this? Wow. I mean, it was like kids in a candy store, man. Yeah. They were putting this stuff together. I mean, everything. You understand when I say everything, camera equipment. So, I mean, all the remotes, all the lens, the
lighting,
two
and all
cameras,
that, everything,
Everything that I needed was right there. I didn't have lighting, but I ended up hiring a lighting guy. But anyway, we began shooting with this equipment. I got love from the city of Detroit, who actually gave me the hockey rink. The hockey rinks are usually $150, $200 an hour.
Yeah, I know.
We were shooting 16 hours a day for 30 days straight.
I was going to say, that's going to ask you, what was your production schedule? So 30 days straight?
30 days straight in this hockey rink on the corner of Linden and Myers. Mm-hmm. And the city just pretty much said, hey, you can have it as long as you want, and just don't worry about it. And whatever you need, we got it. So every hockey stick I needed, every shoulder pad, every helmet, everything was right there in this, arena right there, Jack Adams. And I just can't thank them enough for supporting me and helping me with that. Yeah. But anyway, we shoot for 30 days straight. I run out of money, Reggie. I pretty much go through my budget, and I only have half the movie done. Oh, man. Yeah. And with a crew, it's like you had already scheduled them for 30 days. Yeah. They had other jobs, and I pretty much had to just kind of stop. But I look at that as a blessing, because it gave me an opportunity to kind of first of all, evaluated what I had already shot, see where the holes were. And then I got a chance to go back and even write more of the script and develop it even more.
Yeah.
So it was really a blessing. So whenever I got a little extra money, $2,000 or $3,000 here or there, I'd go back and shoot some more scenes until the movie was completed. And that would take me another year to get it done. And then we'd spend another year just editing, which was a great process. I had a great editor out of, a guy named Drew out of Texas, and just spending time with him every day, just working on different scenes. And it's almost like a puzzle, you know, once you get all of these scenes done, it's like, okay, let's put this scene here, oh, no, let's move it, that's not gonna work. And because I did have several different subplots to the movie with issues that the kids were having in their lives and so forth. And but finally we get it done, Reggie, and I'm just thinking, golly, is this good enough? Is the public going to enjoy it?
Yeah.
But I'll never forget, I actually had the opportunity to mentor with some really great people. And one producer told me, he says, look, at some point you have to let this go. Because when you do a project or any project, you're going to always want to make it better. You're going to always think, well, you could have done this different, and you could have made it this better. And, and that could just go on and on. But at some point, when it comes to creative things like this, even if you're making a song or whatever, at some point you have to let it go and say, okay, let's let the public decide. And so we finally released it in June of 2024 in theaters. I got a small theater deal that lasted about 2 weeks, and the movie did amazing. Just the response was just overwhelming. And it was just such a blessing as my wife and I sat in the back and watched people's reaction and coming out of the theater and said, wow, we really enjoyed that, or I cried, I laughed, and you know, I'm like, wow, really?
You know, and because, excuse me for interrupting, but see, that's the issue. That's one of the issues that I have had.
Yes.
I produced a television series, and it was for music.
Yes.
And I sat there, I had shot it, and then got done with the editing, and I was sitting there, and I was like, why did you do this? 'Cause I was laying them off so I could send it out. Right. And I had to put my head down like this because I was bashing it. Why did you stay on this shot so long? Why didn't you do that? And so I understand when you were saying
absolutely.
you want to go back and you
at some point
fix this.
At some point you really have to just let it go and let the public decide. And sometimes it's not as bad as you think it is, because we are hardest critics. We are toughest critics, as they say. So anyway, we end up staying in the theater for about 3 weeks. We do extremely well. And then I started shopping for a streaming deal, and that didn't happen until January of 2025. When we signed a deal with Samuel Goldwyn Pictures.
Oh man, that's nice.
And they released the movie in May of 2025. We've been on streaming on platforms like Amazon Prime. We're on Apple TV. We're on Roku.
And what's the name of it again?
It's called, now it's called The Rhythm. Back then it was called Black Ice The Rhythm. It's called The Rhythm, and it's available on Amazon Prime, Roku, Apple TV, Tubi. It's also on Google Play and YouTube Movies. So please support it. And of course, we are promoting it for Black History Month, because the movie does deal with the black history of hockey players that played many years ago in Nova Scotia in 1825. So, no, it's been an amazing experience, and I look at movie making as an opportunity to have people's attention for an hour or two. You have their undivided attention. For faith-based movies like this one was, I think it's an opportunity to minister to people. And you have their undivided attention. More so, I think they pay attention more to a movie than they would a preacher in church that's going to speak to her for an hour and a half. So I take it very serious, man. And I spend a lot of time in prayer about what I'm supposed to, what kind of message does the Lord want me to share in this movie. And hopefully, people walk away with something that they're inspired, that they learn something about forgiveness, that they learn something about perseverance. Don't give up. Don't give up.
And not only that, it's your experience is also a testament to saying you don't give up, you don't quit. When the door looks like it closes, or you get a reaction that you're not expecting, you think, okay, I'm really there, and then it's something like, it's like a hit in the head.
Absolutely.
Because like when you say you balled up the script, absolutely.
There's going to be many times that you're going to want to quit. And the theme of the movie, there's a grandmother in the movie, and she tells her grandson, who's the lead character, hey, don't be afraid, just believe.
Yeah.
She keeps telling that.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid, just believe. So I'm actually writing that in the script. And at the same time, I'm actually living that out in real life.
Yeah. And what kind of amused me when you said when you first went to the hockey game, I used to do, let me see, when I was a camera operator, I shot 3 or 4 hockey games. And what I told people, there was me and my business partner, Dave, you know Dave.
Yeah.
I said the only thing that was black there was me, Dave, and the puck.
And the puck, right. And that's one of the lines in the movie. The grandmother says that. It's like, I remember your father used to say, the only thing black in this sport is the puck. Right?
and now what was funny was,
right.
and this is more on the technical end, you had to have a clean viewfinder.
Yeah.
Because the viewfinder would have little black specks.
Yeah.
So I would be shooting the hockey game, and you're watching the puck black on this white ice. And I was like, boy, I got the puck today.
Absolutely.
And I was like, ma'am, and I went, wait a minute.
Yeah. Yeah. And it was that was one of the interesting things about shooting this movie is that none of us knew anything about hockey. So, even including my camera crew, but we figured it out. It was, and it was cold. Oh my goodness, man!
I know when you said
shooting on that ice was so cold. But we figured it out. I think on the second part of when I started shooting, I discovered some guys in Grand Rapids who were hockey players, who were also camera guys.
Really?
So I ended up hiring them towards for the latter part of the movie.
Yeah.
Like when you watch the movie, you'll see the championship games do look a little different, and that's because these guys actually strapped on the cameras.
The cameras. Yeah.
The cameras.
Oh man.
And they got in between the action, and the shots that we got were just amazing.
That was nice.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So, no, it was a great learning experience. I know I'm called to be in this movie industry because we need some good faith-based movies, but with some grit, So I want to make some that are not so fluffy and nice, and
and what's interesting is,
but some real issues that people are dealing with, where God is the answer.
And see, what's interesting is the last episode, all we talked about, and I intentionally did that. All we talked about was the radio career.
Right.
And so that people can see you may start out over here and be successful.
Absolutely.
And then God take you over here.
And have you do something else.
Now I want to get to this.
Yes.
This is Gerald's book. And with our remaining time, this is your
memoir.
This is
God in the detail.
This is Gerald McBride, life and times of Gerald McBride.
Pretty much. You know what the interesting thing is, just kind of going back to how God can call you into doing something else. I always thought that I was just voiceovers and radio, but now I find myself writing now, and it seems so easy to do. I never knew I had this in me, So to be able to do a movie and now write a book, I never thought I would be able to do anything like that. I mean, even the script, I was trying to push it for somebody else to do that movie.
Yeah.
And I just really believed that the Lord wanted me to just really kind of step out in faith. So I ended up being the director, the writer, the producer, and executive producer. And it was just all by faith. But I just kind of remember saying, I can't do that. But you never know what you can do until you really step out and give it a shot. And so in a book, was inspired by my cousin, who actually called me and says, hey, look, I'm just asking a few family members if they would write down some information about their life.
Right.
And I was like, okay, I can do that. I can give you a couple. She just wanted a couple of paragraphs, right? Which I think is important for all families to do. I wish I would have had my mother do that. You know, if she could have done that, and my father, and just write down everything. I know you've told me some stories, but if you could just document some of the things that you said, so that I could show that to my kids, and then my kids can show that to their kids, and you have something documented of history about a family. You know? So I think it's important for every family to do that. So when I started writing, I just kept going. It's just like, wait a minute, I got to tell this story.
Kicked in,
and then I reached out, and I reached out to a friend of mine. It's like, no, we think you have a really interesting book here. And they introduced me to a publishing company, and she really agreed that, no, you really have a book here that she thinks that people would really be interested in it, with all your stories of radio and you know, the transition from radio to voiceovers to the mistakes you made. Now in this book, I'm being really transparent about a lot of mistakes that I made. And in one chapter, I talk about when I was working for a station called WLBS in Mount Clemens. The station, some people at the station made a bet that I wouldn't go skydiving. And I was like, yeah, I'm gonna do it. I could do it, you know, I'm 22 years old. I'm thinking, yeah, I could jump out of a plane, are you kidding? The only issue, I had never been in a plane. So we get to Marine City, and I'm trying to follow through with the bet, right? And it was the whole day was about what do you do in case of an emergency, and how do you jump out of the plane, and the equipment on the parachute, the toggles, and all of these different things, and 5 hours of these lessons. And then they took us up in the plane. I'll never forget being up in that plane, Richie, and I'm like, wow, this is nice. I've never been in an airplane. I'm looking out the window like, this is beautiful. Then all of a sudden the guy says, open the door and said, okay, McBride, it's time to get out. I'm like, man, I'm not getting out of this plane. Are you kidding? Man, I was so scared. I mean, just could you imagine, man, just the adrenaline and just like, man, I was freaking out.
Really?
Yes, but I had to get out. I forgot everything that I had learned.
I know.
I'm so nervous. I'm so scared, man. I forget everything that I was taught, you know, for the preparation of jumping out of this plane. So anyway, I just step out on this platform, and instead of jumping, I just let go, and I believe I fainted. I really did. I blacked out.
Well, apparently you came to.
But I came to, you know what woke me up? Is a little radio attached to my parachute. They had to pull the ripcord for me. Thank God they did it, because it was no way I wouldn't be here on this interview right now if I had to pull my own ripcord. They pulled the ripcord for me. But what woke me up is a little radio saying, McBride, all right, McBride, pull the right toggle, pull the right. And I finally, oh yeah, right, toggles. So I pulled the right toggle and I pulled the left. And then I started to really enjoy this ride. I'm like, this is beautiful. It's 85 degrees. We're up near Lake St. Clair. You could see Lake St. Clair. You could see just a beautiful countryside. And I'm just gliding through the air. And he says, all right, pull the left toggle. And I'm like, wow, this is nice. This is really nice. But as I put that in the book, I really believe the Lord reminded me of this. In life, that's how it is. He may ask you to take a chance, a jump that's so scary that you don't know how you're going to do it. But if you listen to his voice, he'll guide you safely to where you need to go. And I, you know, as I'm, you know, remembering that story, you know, I really believe the Lord kind of gave me that to add to the book, that all of us are faced with a jump, you know, sometimes in life, and it's scary. But the most important thing is listening to that still small voice to guide you. And you know what's really interesting about that? You know, that voice, you got to be on the right frequency.
Oh, yeah.
If I hadn't been on the right frequency, man, you know, I wouldn't have been able to hear that voice guiding me down to the ground. So I get down to the ground, man, and I land perfectly, man. And it was just one of the best experiences of my life. Would I ever do it again? Absolutely not.
Well, you know, but see, I can identify with that because I did tandem skydiving. And they asked us, well, you want to go? I said, well, yeah, I'll go. And I thought, well, I'll get nervous.
Right.
As you know, as I pay for it, I paid for it. And then I said, well, I'm not nervous yet. And so we were driving, and we did it in Tecumseh. We're driving down, and I was like, well, okay, I'll be nervous when I get there. And we're going through, now my training was 2 hours. It was no 3 hours because I was a tandem, so it was somebody else controlling it.
Right.
And I was like, okay, well, I'll get nervous when we get suited up, got suited up. And it was about 95 degrees on the ground.
Right.
They packed all of us in this airplane. I said, well, I'll be nervous when we get up there. Plane took off. We have 10,000 feet, cool air, felt really good. I said, well, I'll be nervous when they open the door. They opened the door, and I look way down there, and I said, well, that's okay. I'll get nervous when I get over to the door.
Right.
And I'm waiting for, you know, the adrenaline to kick in. And when I got to the door, I looked way down there, and I thought, well, there's no handrail to hold on to. And we tumbled out. The only thing I'd expect is the air at 10,000 feet is really cold. So you got to breathe through your mouth. And the only other thing that I didn't expect was when they pull the chute, when they deploy that chute, it snatches you really good.
Really, right. See, I don't remember any of that. I think
you were asleep.
Yeah, I think I was knocked out. I think I fainted during that part of it. So
but I identify with you because it is. When you get up there, that leap of faith.
It's a leap of faith.
There's nothing, and that's how life is. There's nothing to hold on to.
When there's nothing else in you.
It's you.
And the only thing you have is
you and your decision.
And God.
And God.
Trust in God.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yes.
But everybody, the book is called God and the DJ. I was going to say God and Die. God and the DJ.
Yeah.
Gerald McBride story.
Yeah.
From what I know of your career, I know it's been interesting. You know, just the things that I've seen you do and know that you've done. I was real impressed with the movie. I kind of wondered, like, well, you know, Gerald knows I'm in production, but I realized God leads you to who He needs you to, and you were with the right people. Because you got the equipment, the provision that was made, and things like that.
Provision, everything. Right.
But even though you don't need this, I'm proud of you.
Thank you so much.
Because I know you from radio into television. I know your daughter, she's an editor.
Yes.
You've been doing production, things like that. I'd like to talk to you more. Time flies. I told you this wasn't going to take long.
Right.
But Gerald, I appreciate you coming on.
Thank you so much for having me.
I appreciate you willing to come.
And if you don't mind, the book is available on GeraldMcBride.com. Yep.
And then just I'd like to tell everybody, you know, if you're interested in coming on and have a conversation, you can reach out to me at EMERJ TV at gmail.com, EMERJ TV at gmail.com. You can see this conversation as well as many others on my YouTube channel, RCS MG LLC will take you to my channel. See all the conversations there. On TikTok, it's hashtag EMERJ TV or RCS or hashtag RCS Media Group. Hopefully when you watch, and I say this to Gerald's people when he tells y'all to watch his, subscribe to it, tell your friends about it, like it, and help me blow it up. But anyway, I appreciate you all tuning in. Appreciate you, Gerald.
Oh, thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Thanks for watching.
All right.
Thank you for watching EMERJ TV with Reggie Smith. Join us next time for more discussions on all things production. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share.